Hatch here on table 9. And all the way from the Philippines, give a warm welcome to EFREN Reyes. Go ahead, guys.
ACCUSTATS Video Productions presents the 1991 Willards International 9-Ball Classic. I'm Bill Incardona, along with the Professor Grady Mathews. Grady, we're in St. Charles, Illinois, for what I believe is the first Willards International 9-Ball Classic. Over $100,000 has been added to this purse. I mean, these players have come from everywhere in the country and different parts of the world, actually. The two players we have slated to play against one another, young Dennis Hatch, who resides, I believe, right now in West Palm Beach, Florida, or Palm Beach, Florida.
That's
his
correct.
opponent, all the way from the Philippines, EFREN Reyes. They call him the Magician.
And this should be quite a contrast in styles, my friend. Dennis lately has just been tearing up that Florida tour. He's breaking with power and precision. And of course, EFREN Reyes, not called the Magician for nothing.
Well, I'd like to elaborate a little bit on that about Dennis Hatch. They call him the Hatch Man, Dennis Hatch. He is really tearing up the Florida tour, winning 5 out of the last 6 events he's played in down there, and currently ranked #1 on the Florida tour. He's really a very confident player right now. He's at the top of his game.
And I think Dennis a little bit underrated in a lot of categories, too. His safety game has improved, his position has ameliorated, and I look for a great performance on his part. 360 male competitors here and 64 women. Billy, what a turnout.
It certainly is, and they have come, like I mentioned before, from everywhere possible. I mean, there's from the West Coast, so you got Jay Swanson, Kim Davenport. Keith McCready was slated to play yesterday. He didn't show up. That was a surprise.
He had a shoulder separation, a minor car accident. He was en route to converse with a sponsor.
We're going to start again. You know, before the tournament began, I made a promise to myself that I would try to not to disagree with any of your judgment calls or assessments or anything, and I just lost a real tough match, 11-10.
Well, Billy,
I'm going to have a hard time doing that now, but of course I'm going to try to live up to my word.
You and I have a lot of fun teasing each other, but I give you a lot of credit. I respect you not only as a player, but as a fine human being.
Okay,
and
well,
I think that
on that note, we'll just continue the commentary. Thank you.
All right.
EFREN Reyes is in game #1, as we all can see, and having no problem running the balls, and Mr. Dennis Hatch down there watching him very intently, hoping that he'll miss, but Mr. Reyes really doesn't miss that often.
And we're at the Pheasant Run Resort. This is a beautiful facility. The rooms are elegant. The tournament arena spacious. Now let's talk about the sponsors as we watch EFREN shoot this into the big pocket there by the 9-ball. He's got sideboards, Willards Q-tip products. And you mentioned this was the first Willards International, but Jim Willard's a great guy. He makes the Q shaper, I believe. Billy, is that correct?
Yeah, well, Q shaper, and also he has a device that puts on tips. You know, he shapes tips, puts them on,
But he's
trims
been
them
involved
down,
with tournaments for a long
and it's
time.
one of the best tools for re-tipping in the business today. Believe me, he's
Billiards.
one heck of a man. You're right about Jim Willard. In the meantime, EFREN Reyes is probably, in my opinion, that is, the prettiest player in the world to watch. I believe he plays the game as good, or maybe better, than anyone in the world today.
Well, you couldn't be faulted for making such an assessment as we watch him so prettily pocket the 9-ball on the break to the spectators' obvious delight and forwards it to the nothing advantage.
And if there's any weaknesses in his game, it's his break. And other than that, I don't believe the man does have a weakness.
But he's been picking up on his break capabilities of late. And I started to say something about Brunswick Billiards. Jim Bakula, of course, a good friend of the sport and all the professional players. He's done a lot for the sport, too. Brunswick Billiards added 15,000 to the ladies' division and furnished these 26 great playing tables. All right, EFREN got kissed in the corner, Billy, and this is Dennis's first real opportunity at the table.
Okay, now Dennis Hatch can't, you know, he's got to go right to the whip here. What I mean is, he's got to play offensively. He's a very confident player, like I mentioned before. He really has to go to the offense and completely disregard, the first 2 games after winning the first 2 games. He has to play his game. I believe Dennis is, what is he, 18 or 19 years old, Grady?
He's not very old, but it seems like he's been around forever. I like the color of his shirt, too. I love that shirt. He's going to have to play safe here. I don't think it would be advisable to go for half a pocket. He should try to put EFREN behind the 6 and 9. Going around the 7 like so. All right, he ended up behind the 8 and 3 just as well, I suppose.
Well, he parked the cue ball in a pretty good position on the table. I don't believe EFREN can see the 1.
No, and you know something we forgot. One glaring weakness in the EFREN Reyes arsenal of weapons, and that's the total absence of the jump shot.
That's right. EFREN Reyes, to my knowledge, has never jumped over a ball using a jump stick for sure. Now, using his full cue, his regular cue, I don't remember him ever doing that, but you're correct.
Now, he'll
He
go to
doesn't
one of
have a
his
jump shot.
fortes, the masse. Now, I would venture to say every professional in this event would jump this ball. Now, watch. He's going to masse it, and he'll probably try to knock the 1 ball down on the end rail, 1 cushion. That was a risky shot, Billy, fraught with peril. I didn't like his selection there. There's not many good things could have happened to him.
Well, considering that he doesn't know how to jump, or he doesn't jump over balls, okay, he didn't have much of a rail to see to go in directly into the 1, so therefore the only choice he had available to him was the masse shot.
Now back behind the 8 if Dennis strikes the shot correctly. Nicely done.
I played EFREN Reyes in Munich, Germany, and I finished 5th to 8th in that tournament. He eliminated me from that tournament. I hooked EFREN about 6 or 7 times in the match, and he came back off of the hooks and either pocketed the ball or hooked me back. I mean, it was incredible. Well, the precision that he kicks with. I mean, he kicks as good or better than anyone in the world. There's a masse kick there, barely or narrowly missing the 1. If he would have hit the 1, he would have gotten that side rail.
Well, what does this bode? He's knocked the 3 out of action. A pretty fortuitous roll. Of course, the 6 was already not in the most advantageous position.
Now, if he can drop on the 3 in line to play that 3-6 combination in the lower left-hand corner pocket, I believe that that's the key to this particular rack. Now, the 2 ball is the ball next to the left-hand side pocket. He'll play position on that, but he needs to get a nice angle. After pocketing the 2, he must cut the 2 into the corner and then come across table for the 3.
He's playing safe here.
Well, I don't agree with this because EFREN Reyes is a master kicker. To get him on 3 consecutive fouls is like.
But he did get defeated 1 game on 3 fouls. Mike LeBron accomplished that particular feat. I'm kind of proud of the fact that I've never lost a game on 3 fouls in a row.
Yeah, but you're still young, though. You know, I mean, there's no question in my mind that eventually you will lose it because lose 1 on 3 consecutive fouls.
Well, if so,
you're a young player still.
If so, doubtless when you and I finally draw each other.
Well, you know, I've really been waiting, really patiently for the confrontation between you and I. Okay, and I have to admit I'm running out of patience. I really can't wait now until we do play one another.
McDermott Q is also a sponsor. Now, isn't this interesting? I would think 3 cushions to the side rail using your new system, I might add, would be the best way to kick that, but who could fault his attempt?
Well,
nice hit.
He, like I mentioned before, he's the master at the kicking game, and he's going to probably have to get his kicking shoes out one more time because after Dennis Hatchell leaves the table, I believe EFREN's going to be behind the 6 ball here.
I don't think Dennis should shoot this ball. It doesn't look from this viewpoint like the 2 balls is in the
this is a very, very good shot. He can put him behind the 2 here. This is a very, very good. If he gets behind the 2 and cuts off that side cushion, EFREN's in a lot of trouble. But I don't believe he's cut off the side cushion on the right-hand side of the monitor.
No, he has not. And this is about an even money kick for.
I don't believe it's even money, but.
I believe it is. If he has the big ball about a 1/4 of an inch off the rail.
With his uncanny accuracy. Well, this is amazing. I mean, he kicked it right in like it was a hang.
It was about an even money kick. Now, he snookered himself again. Number of ways to play this shot, Billy. You can play it with draw. You can play it with a center ball. The main thing, try to get distance between the 2 ball and the 2 ball. He can also go rail first, over to the side rail, and back behind this cluster of 4 balls, a 6, 7, 8, 9. That's what he's going to try to do. A little low right English, contacting about half the ball. Medium speed. Now, obviously, he would like to not pocket the 2 ball, nor hit it hard enough for it to return to this end of the table.
I believe he's going to try to lag the 2 ball to that bottom cushion. You know, he's going to try to lag the 2 ball to that bottom cushion, and then the cue ball will go toward the 3. With the 3 ball is the ball to the right and up from the 2 ball. See, he's going to lag it up there, and he's going to try to get through the cue ball up toward the 3. He hit it a little too deeply. And meantime, Dennis had steps to the table with really not that easy of a shot here, Grady, but he's trailing 2 games to nothing.
Actually, given the lie of the 5 ball, EFREN made a pretty clever little effort. Now, Dennis can play the billiard, but I don't think that would be well advised. McDermott Q is also a sponsor of this quality event. Jim McDermott, of course, great lover of this sport for many years.
Okay, Dennis elected to play the billiard. He pocketed the 5 into the corner pocket, as we all have seen. I don't believe the 2 will pass the 3 into the left-hand side pocket. If he can't shoot that in there, what do you?
Well, that's what I
do you
didn't like
foresee him
about the
doing?
billiard. To achieve decent position on the 2 ball, it was necessary to hit that at about half the speed that Dennis selected. He may have to play another safety here. And he has indeed done just that, but EFREN can see this ball.
Okay, he can see the ball, but if he cannot see the right-hand part of the ball, or at least the left hand from the way he's facing it.
Well, Dennis is going to go behind the 6 here, I believe. I think he can hit this thickly enough for that, like so.
Okay.
But now there's not the slightest chance that Dennis is not going to hit this 2 ball. Out will come the jump cue. Oh, he's going to kick it this far. Very surprised at that. And while we await his selection, Miller Time Billiards in Moline, another sponsor, Denny Miller's terrific establishment.
Well, he struck it very nicely. I don't believe he's going to get rewarded for it, though. EFREN steps to the table already with a 2-0 lead.
Well, I don't like the way Dennis elected to play this, Billy. In a safety battle, you have to give the nod to EFREN Reyes. He's got vastly superior knowledge at this point in young Dennis's career, at any rate.
Well, Dennis doesn't want to play safety with Reyes, Grady. He was forced to do that so far in this particular game. You know, if given a choice, he would much rather go to his offensive game, knowing that's his forte. Okay, now the cue ball just bypassed or passed the 4 ball on the right-hand side of the table, and the 3 ball, the ball he's looking at. Rather a little testy shot here. If he pockets the 3, he should hit that side cushion, come back cross table for the 4 in the upper right-hand corner. Or maybe he's following it for the 4 on the side. Let's see. Okay, he followed the cross table for the 4 in either the corner pocket or the side. Now, I believe he'll just play the 4 in the corner. It's a natural angle to fall short of the side, come off that side cushion, and go right toward the 6. Now, the 6 is the ball that's closest to the left-hand lower corner pocket.
He may be able to just more or less stop this ball. We'll go forward just a hair like he did. EFREN grown a rather fetching mustache, hasn't he? I think he looks pretty dapper with that epidermal growth. And that emblem on his shirt. Back of 9 balls, I believe.
Okay, he's got a slight angle. I look for him to go 2 rails out of the lower left-hand corner and then playing the 9 in the same pocket. A little bit of right-hand English, not much. Nice stroke. Make sure you get out of there now. 1, 2 cushions, and narrowly missing the 9. If he would have brushed a 9 there, he would have had a problem. But that's not the case. Game number 3 looks like it's going to go to Reyes, and it does. And he takes a 3-0 lead in the match, Grady. And I don't believe Dennis has really had much to say about this. He played a couple good safeties. EFREN came back and made some spectacular kicks. And then eventually had Dennis hooked behind a couple balls. Dennis kicked at it. He sold out the
Well, I think the key might have been when Dennis tried to put EFREN behind the 2 ball when he played safe on the 1 ball. That was a rather difficult attempt. I didn't think that was possibly his best choice.
Okay, now EFREN Reyes' weak area in his game, his only weak area that I can see, is the break. He's been practicing the break, and he hit those balls very, very poorly and weakly, pocketing 2 balls on the break. So I can't figure it out, you know. Sometimes you hit the balls softly in pocket balls, and other times you hit the balls extremely hard and you don't pocket a ball.
Well, a lot of the fellas here this week, the pros, seem to feel that taking a little bit off the break is the proper way to attack the table. And given this last effort by EFREN Reyes, I couldn't disagree.
Okay, now the cue ball is resting against that side cushion in perfect position for the 3. Now the 3 ball is the ball nearest the upper right-hand corner pocket to the right of the 5.
And the 4 is down here on the end rail. So I think he's got a nice angle just to push the cue ball into the 5. Perhaps not the way he's looking at it. He's scared of going forward off the 5. That would be disastrous.
Well, I believe he's going to hit a very full ball on the 3 ball. He's got a fantastic stroke. And I believe the 5 ball will go to the left slightly, and the cue ball should stay around the area where the 5 is. If the 3 ball is too far ahead of the 5 and he's unable to execute that particular shot, what do you foresee him doing from this point?
Well, he's playing a safety, possibly. But the key to this shot is to shoot it easy, Billy. The easier you shoot, the quicker the English takes.
Right.
Left English, just a slow, medium speed. He's even all right if he goes forward an inch or so here, but I don't think that's going to do it. Oh, I don't like what he did there at all.
Well,
or maybe that's the 8 on the end rail.
Well,
I thought that was the 4 ball.
obviously that's not the 4 ball on the bottom cushion. That is the 8. He's
That's
shooting
my
the
mistake.
5 now in the lower left-hand corner pocket and forcing the ball up, table toward the 5, passing the 6 slightly.
Well, the 5 having been the next shot, I love his choice, the way he played it. It's high percentage and well thought out. And just like that, it appears that it's going to be 4 games to nothing.
And that's exactly what it's going to be, providing that he runs as many balls on the table. I don't visualize him doing anything else.
These are centennial balls on this day of our Lord, March 19th, 1991.
The same shot he shot in the last rack. 2 cushions and playing the 9 in the same pocket. Game number 4 will go to EFREN Reyes, who takes now a 4-0 lead in the match, a race to 11. It's a $30,000 first prize, Grady. When I lost my match today, I literally gave my match away. I just seen that $30,000 start to slip away from me, you know. And
well, you remember that match that you and I played that was worth $800, and I didn't know it, and neither did you. And a gentleman came up to me and he said, "You know, your match with Billy is worth $800." And without batting an eye, you know what I told him? I said, "Be sure and tell Billy that."
yeah, you even wanted to be the only one to dog over the 800.
All right, EFREN is scratched. Now, this is Dennis's first real opportunity, and perhaps we'll get to view firsthand the explosiveness of young Dennis Hatt.
Okay, now the 2 ball seems to be one of the key balls to get on here in this particular rack. The 2 ball is the ball underneath the 8.
Billy,
the 8 ball is to the left of the foot spot.
He's okay here. It goes in the corner past the 8-9. It goes in the side pocket past the 3, and it also goes in the corner in the lower right-hand part of the monitor.
Okay, he does have several pockets for the 2, but still he must play position for one of those pockets, and this seems to be one of the key shots coming up right now.
Well, I would go down between the 4 and deuce. I don't think you can go wrong there. The 3's in a great spot. All he's got to do is get roughly straight in on any pocket, and the 3 is easy to get to the 4 off of, if you'll excuse my ending in a preposition.
Okay, well that's a good route to choose in between the 4 and 2, controlling the cue ball. But that's rather a risky shot because you have to have a real good touch to do that. And I believe Dennis is electing to play the, well, he's elected to play your shot, Grady, and yet, like I mentioned, you have to have a good touch to do that. He's trailing 4-0. He hasn't had an opportunity at the table to develop that nice feel and touch that he needed to execute that particular shot. In the meantime, he ran into the 4. The 4, it looks like it's blocked a portion of the 2 ball. Matter of fact, I don't even know if he can even hit the 2 ball.
He can hit it, but I don't think he's got a shot here. He may try to put EFREN behind the 8. Just lag this ball up like so. Nice shot.
Okay, here we go. Then once again, we're into the safety game with EFREN Reyes. Not by choice. He tried to run out, but he had no other choice or shot available to him. He had to play a safety. Now, EFREN Reyes is looking over the situation.
Now, he's going to have to go for this ball because this is not lying in the proper place to play a safety. So he's going to have to go for this ball, in my opinion. I think he'll kick. I don't think lengthways is the correct choice. The point looms large in this kick picture.
It certainly does, and you can rest assured that he understands that also. And the kick is much easier, I do believe, if he comes to the cushion beneath him now and goes toward the 2 in that fashion. If he kicks up table, like you mentioned, the point is awfully big here. And not only the point big, but he's going to have to apply a little bit of left-hand English, which is going to increase the difficulty of the shot. And the point did loom awfully large right there, Grady. Let's mark one up for you.
Well, I hate to second-guess a great player like EFREN Reyes, Billy, but I think his judgment was faulty there, in my opinion. To put it another way, to go to the other end rail, the kick percentage had to be 100%. Now, this is just what he did not want to do. Now, Dennis must take advantage of this opportunity. Now, he can just slide over one cushion and play to get on the 3 in the corner pocket. Now, he struck this too hard. Now, he's going to have to go between the 4 and 8 here unless I misread the situation.
Okay, now the 2 balls that are located on this end of the table that he's standing at right now, the ball to the left is the 4 ball, the ball to the right of that is the 7. He's shooting the 3. This is a kind of a touchy shot here. He looks like he's going to go around the 4 here.
Yeah,
he's going around the 4 now, and trying to go around the 4, he missed the 3. He's trailing 4 games to 0. He didn't want this. He didn't want EFREN to jump out in front like this. But this is what happened, and he was going to have to deal with it from that point. And he took his eye off the 3 ball. Now EFREN's back at the table again with a 4-0 lead, looking to extend it.
I would like to know how it's possible to get opponents to play like that.
Okay, EFREN will go 2 rails now toward the 5. He'll go around the 7, 2 cushions toward the 5. The 6 is near the upper right-hand corner pocket. The 7 is at the other end of the table. It's important that he gets the correct angle on the 6 to get back down table for the 7.
I don't think he can get an angle on this 6 where he could not get on the 7.
Okay, he stops his ball. Now what he'll do now, he'll just go 1 cushion in between the 8 and the 9. He'll go in between the 8 and the 9 with the cue ball here. Now he executes these particular types of shots. Well, he's gone 3 cushions around.
Well, he likes inside English.
Well, he's come up a little bit short, by the way. These are 4.5-inch pockets, by the way. 4.5-inch pockets. So he's going to have to hit this shot fairly good if he expects to get the ball.
Well, he's got a nice angle, but all he's really got to do is make this ball. He'll just come up 1 cushion, play the 8 in the same pocket.
Okay, this is game number 5. And it appears it's going to go to EFREN, unlike the first 4.5.
And he hit it a little poorly. But he did eventually pocket the 7 ball. And it's going to be 5-0.
Okay, now Dennis had a legitimate opportunity, not once, but twice in that particular rack, and he failed on both times to deliver. And now the match looks like it's definitely slipping away from him.
It sure is, and Dennis needs to compose himself. Not that he seems uncollected at the moment. I heard 2 guys today talking about betting on your match, and one of them referred to your break, and he said, man, he breaks like Johnny Archer. And the other guy said, yeah, but he shoots like Ray Charles.
Well, thank you, Grady. I'm glad that we're back together again. It's been quite some time since we last sat next to one another. I believe it was the tournament in South Carolina.
Oh, we were at the 1 pocket tournament and the 9-ball tournament. That was January, 2 short months ago.
Okay, now the 2 ball is the ball nearest the right-hand side pocket. The 3 ball is by the foot spot. It's right on top of the 4. The 4 is to the left of the 3 ball.
This score could easily have been 3-2. Now, the first 3 games, I don't believe Dennis had a respectable opportunity, but he really has made unforced errors the last 2 games. Now, he needs to really put this game under his belt and try to get in the offensive mode. This is a nice shot. Just kind of, oh, he just rolled it in. All right, that's a great shot. I think he's gotten a nice angle on the 2 ball to get on the 3, which only goes in a couple of pockets. And that's the 3-4-9 right there in the area of the spot. I think you could safely say that the 3 ball is pretty much the game ball here. That's the main ball to get on. He's done so rather nicely.
No, he's gotten a little too much of an angle on the 3. He wanted more of a straight-in shot on the 3. All he would have to do then would it be the drift toward that other side of the table where the 4 would go in the lower left-hand corner pocket. Now he has to almost back cut the 3, and not only is the shot half difficult, but controlling the cue ball is also going to be a problem for him.
I think you can just cut this in the pocket with a little inside English and come out one cushion, have a nice angle on the 4. He elected to play the bank.
Okay, he played the bank. He figured that if he made the bank, he would be in line for the 4 ball. If he missed the bank, he had the 4, 7, and 9 as a blockade to block the shot on the 3 ball. Okay, he missed the bank, obviously, as we all can see.
And EFREN inspecting the ball to see if it is, in fact, frozen. And again, Billy, this is, if he elects to go one rail and kick this ball in, I would say this is about a 35% make.
Okay, now he should go one cushion to the other rail underneath him if he wants to kick it in. He's going to play a safety. He's going to try to hit the top of the 3 ball, sending the 3 ball up that side cushion like so, putting the cue ball behind the 4 and 9 like he's just done. Now, if there's anyone in the world that kicks better than EFREN Reyes, please produce him for me.
Dennis may have a keyhole here. No, he's going to go one rail to the end rail. Got to be careful not to end up behind the 7 should he happen to pocket the 3. I believe you got to hit that kick a little bit harder, Billy, don't you? Now, EFREN being a great left-handed perpetrator of pool shots, won't have any problem with this.
Excellent speed. EFREN Reyes, by the way, is ambidextrous. He plays extremely well with his left hand.
Well, he'll just come out one rail for this, play the 5 in the corner. And the 6 on the side, he'll want to stay below the 6, of course. Meaning the high side of the screen.
This
like
particular
so.
match has certainly gone to his liking, that's for sure. There's been quite a few safeties played in the match up to this point. Dennis Hatch does not have a game yet. This is game number 6.
Well, EFREN really made a nice safety on that 3 ball. That's not the easiest shot in the world.
No, it certainly isn't. But he certainly made it appear or look like it was very easy.
And of course, we struck it with exactly the proper speed. And unless we see a change in momentum, young Dennis Hatch is going to have a short evening.
But Dennis seems quite comfortable. It's a date, you could say. You know, he doesn't seem to be showing much emotion in his face right there. Seems to be relaxed, even though he's trailing 6 games to 0. Perhaps he's thinking, I just need a couple of shots because I got a super break. I can come back in this game.
Well, Dennis is a real good friend of mine, Billy, but I disagree with you. He looks almost comatose, almost Cardone-like in abject submission there in the chair. Well,
I appreciate that coming from you, Grady. In the meantime, we're scanning the ballroom here. There's George Michaels on the adjacent table. This is the Pheasant Run Resort, and they have 16 tables in this room here. And once again, EFREN Reyes makes the 9 on the break. It's the second time in this match that he's made a 9 on the break. That was game number 7. It goes to EFREN Reyes, who now takes a 7-0 lead in the match.
And how many times have we talked about this? Dennis has made several unforced errors, and when a player does that, the opposition seems to pocket the 9 ball on the break with apparent ease.
Well, when EFREN made the 9 on the break, Dennis had a towel in his hand. He threw it up in the air. It wasn't really, he wasn't really throwing it up in the air and just to be a poor sport. It was more of a fun thing, you know. Wow, well, the 9 almost went again, but he did pocket a ball, and it doesn't appear that he's got a shot on the 1 here.
EFREN tried to body English the 8 ball out of the way. I've seen a lot of these players do that with great success. If it's only a little twirl, EFREN may curve the cue ball, but I don't think so. I don't think he's going to push out either. He'll take this kick in all probability. I don't believe he can get around the 8 and strike the 1 frontally. don't believe he's got room to get 2 rails underneath the one. He may be able to bank the one. That's a possibility. Oh, he was able to get underneath the 1, 2 cushions.
Notice the speed that he kicked the one with, just about perfect speed. Does Dennis have a shot here, Grady?
I believe you can see part of the 1 ball. How much of it, I don't know.
Rick Bully, that's a real good shot you had on Dennis as he was walking around the table. You caught his expression. He's trailing 7 games to 0. You couldn't tell by his expression, though. He seems to be very relaxed and comfortable. I feel that he definitely has a shot to come back in the match like against EFREN, but if he keeps shooting like that, he's not going to come back, that's for sure.
Well, that wasn't his fault. I suspect that he hit as much of the 1 ball as he could with left English, which curves the ball slightly from right to left, and is the natural outside English. Now, meanwhile, maybe we'll see the patented EFREN Massey here. I know how he likes to play this type of shot. This will be easy.
Okay, let's take a real good look at this. Well, let's take a real good look at it. All right, I love it. I really love it. I mean, this man is a magician. He certainly has lived up to his name.
Well, I would have made that Massey even money for EFREN, by the by. Dennis Hatch, 19 years of age. First professional tournament played at age 15. And he's playing his best pool at this very moment.
And the young man is in with the possibly the greatest player in the world currently, ball for ball.
Well, in the opinion of many leading experts, he is exactly that. As we watch him methodically clear the table in preparation for in all probability, adopting an 8-0 advantage.
How does it feel to be 19 years old competing against the best player in the world?
Well, that's not something you know because of your aversion to going into combat against skilled opposition.
And that's exactly right. And now you know the answer why I'm always asking you to play.
Well, EFREN moving ever fluidly around the table. Same 7-game edge has its way of doing that.
Yes, and it looks like it's going to even widen now to 8.
And I hate to do it, but I'm going to make a late game odds analysis, late match odds analysis. I make it roughly $1 million to 1 against Dennis winning this match.
I like the way you gamble, Grady. I really do. The odds that you make, you have to go through your entire life without losing 1 bet. If you lose 1 bet, then there's no way that you'll ever have any money the rest of your life. $1 million to 1, 100,000 to 1. I mean, the odds that you come up with, if you book these odds and you were able to, you lost one of those bets.
Those aren't booking odds. If I were to make the odds, I'd need a probability tree anyway, but it would probably fall in the maybe 300 to 1 category. That'd be more like it. But just given the way the momentum factor has been entailed and the match has gone in general, it would take a near miracle for young Dennis to get back in this match. Of course, I know the fans would enjoy just such a happenstance. Most exciting matches are what we always fervently await. Well, EFREN has inadvertently missed the 1 ball. All right, Dennis has to take advantage of this opportunity. This is his last hurrah, so to speak. And he's in pretty good shape. The 3 ball is on the far right-hand side of the screen. Well, I don't know that he's not in good shape here. He's gotten on the wrong side of the 2 ball. This is not the easiest of position plays.
Okay, well, the 3 ball is located on the side cushion next to the 8. The 4 on the furthest cushion near the upper left-hand corner pocket. Now he's going 2, 3 cushions toward the 3. He's coming off that cushion and behind the 8. He's frozen on the 8. He's frozen on the 8, and Efren certainly likes what he's done. You can take a look at his expression. It doesn't tell you much, but he's happy about it. Dennis kicks the 3 ball
Well,
successfully.
Always inscrutable. Stoic, if you will. And Efren's got a nice angle to go one cushion back between the 5-6 and then the 5-7. This is pretty much a no English shot. Just one natural rail. He got a little too much inside English on it. Let's see if he can reach across the side of the table and make this shot. Efren's got a great stretching capability anyway. I think he can lean right over the edge of the table and be able to strike the 4 ball in the desired spot. Rail first he went. That was a nice shot. Rail first, slowing the cue ball down.
Okay, he wants a nice angle on the 6 so he can go across the table and play the 7 into the right-hand side pocket. He's getting a straighter in angle on the 6, hoping the draw is straight back for the upper left-hand corner pocket. Now once again, he's stretching over the... Now, I can't believe he can do this. With accuracy, both with the shot and the cue ball.
I suspect that Efren would excel at yoga.
The multi-talented Efren Reyes.
And his hobby, his favorite one, is what, Bill?
Chess. He plays an excellent game of chess, by the way.
I'd hate to sit across the poker table from him, too, I might add.
He wanted to play me gin rummy. He's never played the game in his life. I know I can beat him.
Well, that wasn't enough of an edge for you to play.
I know I can beat him.
Life.
Okay, that's game number 9, Grady. It also goes to Efren Reyes, and now leaves in the match 9 games to 0.
And now, realistically, the odds of a skunk are only about 3-2. Given the break vigorous. Near capacity crowds here at present run.
Okay, now in the 9 times Efren has broken the ball, he's made the 9 twice, and he's scratched twice. You know, he didn't pocket the ball on the break that particular time, but you really can't scratch on the break if you expect to win tournaments, and it's really a momentum stopper scratching on the break. But he does have a 9-0 lead, so he probably really wasn't concentrating that intently on the break.
Well, in all honesty, this match should have been a lot closer. Dennis has really been playing terrific volleyball. And he's made at least 4 unforced errors. Now, if you knock 4 off Efren's score and put them on Dennis Hatch's side of the ledger, the score is 5-4 instead of 9-0. At any rate, he needs to get a nice angle on the 4, which he has done. Now he'll go 1 rail, pocketing the 4 in the side pocket, and achieve position on the 5 ball.
Okay, now the 6 is the ball that's to the left of the 4, which you just pocketed. The 5 is nearest to the lower right-hand corner. He's going to shoot the 5 in, draw the cue ball in between the 6-8, which is the 8 spot, the foot spot.
Billy, out of 360 players, you couldn't draw one you could beat, and you were a seeded player, meaning that you did not have to play one of the top 31 other players in the world.
Well, I played a pretty good player, by the way, you know. I don't remember what his name was, but...
Bob Dickerson, he's Nick Varner's protege.
But he is a pretty good player, by the way. He played extremely well on me in the match. I faltered at the end of the match, and I was really upset about that. You know, I literally gave the match away. I had him 10 games to 9, and I failed to get out the next 2 racks, and I had an opportunity in both of the racks to get out. And I was kind of wondering how I was going to respond to it, sitting next to you for over an hour, hour and a half. Fortunately, EFREN Reyes is going to make short work of this. Now I'll be able to leave you.
Not necessarily. Nothing would make me happier, not that I'm pulling against Efren, than to see Dennis Hatch get back in this match.
Oh, I would like to see a close match, too, you know.
Look at Dennis. He's smiling, saying hello to a friend.
Well, he just motioned or mentioned something to his father. Greg Hatch is sitting up here beneath us here. And that is the first game Dennis has won in the match. That's game number 10. It goes to Dennis Hatch who trails in the match at 1 game to 9.
There's one of the great gentlemen in our time-honored and venerable sport on the adjacent table, Willie Munson. What a great guy he is, Billy. Never done anything but enhance our sport.
Do you know, I've known Willie for about 30 years. 30 years I've known Willie Munson.
There's Willie on the screen.
There he is right there. I have yet to hear anyone say anything negative about that man right there.
You never will.
Never will. Never will. Come from the grave, Willie.
You know, I've seen him defeat many a great player, too, as we get prepared to watch explosion in action. Dennis Hatch's break. Watch out for the scratch.
Okay, Dennis scratches on the break, pocketing 3 balls on the break to no avail, scratching in the corner pocket. Accu-Stats to the table with a 9-1 lead and cue ball in hand behind the head string.
Well,
go ahead.
I was just going to mention, Billy, that he has several choices here. He can try to break up the 2-ball, which is going on the spot, with another ball behind it, or he could go down and play for the bank, or he could play safe on the 1, leaving it in close proximity to the 4 balls. And, oh, I see, the 1 was behind the line, apparently. Now there are 4 balls on the spot.
Well, he's going to probably place the cue ball next to the 5, like so. He's going to hit the 1 on this side, and the cue ball should go somewhere around where the 5 is. The 3 and 4 will remain exactly where they are.
And he'll knock the 1 over to the side rail, like so.
And the cue ball will be by the 5 and behind 3 balls, the 2, 3, and 6. The 2 ball on the foot spot. The 3 ball is the center ball in between the 2 and the 6. He's going to just spin it between the 3, 6, and he does very nicely. He gets a cushion, and the 1 trickles him back at the 7. Okay, we might have something developing here, Grady.
Well, Dennis made a nice shot there. And as we watch EFREN prepare to kick, Willie Munson has gone ahead of young Johnny Archer 1 game to nothing.
Johnny Archer, one of the hottest players on the tour today.
No, they're still just practicing, I think.
Okay, once again, he illustrates his kicking ability, and this time kicking in the 9. Well, you know, Dennis isn't really disturbed about that. He's trailing 9-1. I guess he wants to see this match get over with. And now it's 10-1. So I think his wish will come true very shortly. He wants this match over with. I would too. I don't want to be behind 9-1 or 10-1. I, as soon as just be in the locker room taking a shower.
Well, you know what I might think to myself in a position like this, Billy? Boy, it'd be nice to get a good shot and show that I'm a very capable professional. Maybe put together 4 or 5 racks and even possibly ultimately get back in the match. I don't believe Dennis is going to give up. I don't think he has that in him.
Well, I'm not saying he's going to give up. I'm just saying that, when you're behind 9-1 or 10-1, you really don't. We really don't want to continue the match. Nothing seems to be going his way, and it doesn't appear like anything's going to start going his way after being hooked, kicking in the 9.
Well, as they say, when it rains, it pours. EFREN is going to play safety here, I believe, which bespeaks the killer in him, leading 9 games to nothing, or 9 games to 1, excuse me, and playing the safety. Okay, Dennis can see this ball, but there's not any great safety here. Maybe we try to put the cue ball behind the 9. Oh, he elected to shoot it.
Now, that was a nice shot. No
it really was. It was well thought
very
out,
nice
too.
shot.
Had an excellent possibility of being safe, should he happen to miss the 1 ball. Now he'll just try to play the 3 in the far right-hand corner. Nicely done. And Dennis has an excellent chance to notch game number 2. Let's make sure it stays below the 5. Just kind of punch this out 1 cushion, like so. Starting to shoot with a little bit more authority. He seemed to be striking the balls in tentative fashion earlier in this contest.
Well, I really don't remember that because he really wasn't shooting that often in the earlier part of the contest. This is the first time he's been at the table for more than about 15 seconds.
Well, my point, Billy, he hit several bunt safeties and kicks against an EFREN Reyes, a young player. I don't think he's well advised to do that. And as we witnessed, he lost, I think, every safety engagement early on in this matchup.
Oh, you know, he prevailed on one, and that was when you called the point. It couldn't loom very large if Efren kicks down table toward the 2, and that point couldn't loom very large, and that's exactly what happened. He kicked and hit the point. So therefore, that was one of the safety battles that young Dennis Hatch did prevail in. Getting a little close to his work, but nevertheless, he's in line for the 8. All he's got to do is stop his ball. He'll push another bead on his side, the second bead.
And he's not out of this yet. If he can get the break working, he could very shortly be right back in the thick of things.
Okay, game number 12 goes to Dennis Hatch, who now trails in the match 2 games to 10.
And Efren, 35 years old, played in his first event at 23 years of age, and he started playing billy at a very young age, did he not?
Well, I guess most of the players in the Philippines start when they're fairly young, because there's a lot of players in the Philippines. They love the game over there. They play rotation. That's the game of choice in the Philippines. And EFREN Reyes is the best rotation player in the world. And you notice his skills as he goes around the balls. He massages balls, and he plays kiss shots. And in the game of rotation, kiss shots and combinations and billiards, those shots appear quite often. In the game of rotation.
They sure do. And I don't know if the one goes in the side here. Maybe Rick can give us a close-up of this. Hard to tell from this vantage point. If not, certainly he's got an excellent safety.
Okay, he's going to go and play at safety here in between the 6-8.
All right, we'll see Efren maybe shorten this ball up. I think he'd like to make a thick hit on the 1 rail first. Has an excellent chance to put the cue ball behind the 6 ball here.
Yeah, like he said, Grady, when it rains, it pours. He kicked the 1 ball, and the 1 ball trickled the back of the 3. Dennis steps to the table once again with no shot.
Well, I thought he could have played a little better safety on the 1. It's always dangerous to the great kicker like Efren close to the odds.
Okay, you're going to have to kick this with some speed. You're going to have to try to get lucky here, like he's done. You have to try to get lucky, and he has gotten lucky. This is game number 13. It does go with Dennis Hatch, who narrows the gap now at 3 games to 10.
It's 3 games. Yeah, it is 3 games to 10. Okay, I was thinking it was 9 to 3. These beads have confused me all week.
Yes, along with a lot of other things that confuse you. If it's not the beads, it's something else.
At the conclusion of this contest,
don't bite off something you can't eat now.
No, I want to discuss my credit worthiness. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's see if Dennis can get the break working. Made a ball last time when the break just didn't have a shot. Now this time he's got a shot.
How about that line in the picture? Don't write a check with your mouth with your mouth that your body can't cash.
I never heard that before. That's certainly profound. All right, he's got a problem getting on his 2 ball here.
Well, the 2 ball is down this end of the table, near the bottom cushion to the left of the 6, which is the other ball on this end of the table near the cushion. Yeah, he's got the angle where it's going to be very difficult for him to get down table for the 2.
Well, he's looking at the right shot. He's got to be careful not to strike the 3 ball thickly after going 1 cushion, or he could be snookered behind the 3.
Well, he really precipitously shot that 1 ball and didn't take much time. Efren steps to the table, and I believe he has a pocket. The lower left-hand corner pocket is available for him.
I think he's got to go around the table here 3 cushions.
Now look what he's doing here, Grady. He's using left-hand English. Watch this. Look at this. Oh, can you believe this guy? What? He hit it a little too hard, but he used left-hand English, a middle ball.
You know, you and I wouldn't dream of shooting that shot in our dreams.
You know, I do shoot that shot quite well, by the way. And I may have chosen that particular shot. Going around the table was very risky. but he hit that shot a little too hard. But with a 10-3 lead, you can afford to do that. Watch out for the cue ball. Watch out. Okay, something is happening here. Do you feel it?
A momentum shift?
Do you feel it?
Not until Dennis puts a couple of racks together. He needs to put a couple of good, solid racks together.
Yeah, he's got to show some offense. He's got to show that he can deliver, that he can respond to the challenge. And once he's shown that, then we'll start feeling that comeback.
Okay, he does not want to get straight into the 3. At least I wouldn't want to be straight into the 3.
Okay, now the 4 is at the other end of the table. He's going to have to suck that cue ball straight back down table. But he doesn't want to get straight in on the 4, and he doesn't want to scratch in the pocket underneath him now. So therefore, it's a touchy little shot. He's drawing the cue ball down table. He didn't scratch, and he's got a nice angle. He's in perfect line for the 4 to drop onto the 5. The 5 being the ball to the right of the foot spot.
Yeah, he's in pretty good shape here. All he wants to do is get an angle not to have to go into the 9. Anywhere out in the middle of the table, pretty much, like so.
Okay, now he wants to get a little straighter now. Now he looks like he has a little bit of an awkward angle here. He may have to force the cue ball between the 8 and 9. He may have to force the cue ball between the 8 and 9 here.
He'll go all the way over to the side rail, I think.
All right, he's done that. Now he's attained a nice angle on the 6. All he needs to do here is pocket the 6. With his pocket speed, he'll come off that bottom cushion for position for the 8 in the left-hand side pocket.
Yeah, he's in pretty good shape here. I already struck this a little easily.
Yeah, well, he'll just draw this ball to the right slightly. Now he's going over there to see how he likes the shot. If he happens to stop the cue ball in that area, he says, I can deal with it.
You know, every pool hustler came out of the woodwork to attend this great event. 360 players. I've seen fellas here I haven't seen in years. Tracy Joe, Joe Salazar, Weldon Rogers.
Okay, we have Broderick Crawford, 10-4, after game number 14. Yeah, I accept your nemesis, Keith McCready. He didn't make an appearance, but...
Well, Keith is my nemesis with money only. Keith has bested me in the financial arena on numerous occasions, as has my other long friend, Louis Roberts, also in attendance this week.
He certainly is.
Louis won the preliminary event at Showtime Billiards. Now he stopped the cue ball in the middle of the table.
And he broke the ball very nicely, very nicely. Then the 4 ball, gotten back at the cue ball here. The 1 and the 3 are the 2 balls that were pocketed on the break. That means the 4 ball is the next ball he has to play position on. And it's parked right behind the cue ball. He's going to have to elevate, and that's going to diminish the accuracy of the shot.
I believe I'd bank this ball, Billy. The cut, very difficult.
Well, whatever shot he chooses to shoot, Grady, he has his hands full, believe me.
Got to shoot. I don't think he can push out here. I think he will, in fact, bank the ball, like so.
And he banks it in the center of the pocket, I might add. If the 5 will pass the 6 on the other end of the table in the far right-hand corner pocket, I can feel something developing here. If he's able to run the balls. If he's able to run the remaining balls on the table, you have to agree, you do have to feel something developing here.
I feel it, I feel it. He's going to come out 1 cushion. 3 cushions, excuse me.
Now he's played position for the 5 ball in the upper left-hand corner pocket. He's fallen a little bit short. Now he's going to have a little touchy shot coming up here. What he wants to do here is he wants to like half draw the cue ball in between the 6 and the corner pocket. He has a very, very small area to hit there on that bottom cushion.
I think I'd have to go into the 6 here.
If you go into the 6, you can scratch that way also.
I think he can hit the left side of the 6.
No, he cannot hit the left side of the 6. I have a little better angle on the shot. He's going to have to try to narrowly miss the 6 and not scratch in the upper right-hand corner. Now, he went into the 6, and he did scratch in the upper right-hand corner pocket. See, now that shot's a very touchy shot for an 18 or 19-year-old.
For anybody, it doesn't matter what your age happens to be.
Well, that's true, but for a 19-year-old, even more so.
Well, the reason I would have gone into the 6, Billy, is because I know that I would not scratch, and I know I'm going to be able to see the 6. And I say to myself, I'm a good player, I might actually win this thing.
Right, but
if
he
I have
couldn't.
to, I can play a safety.
But he couldn't pocket the 5 and go into the left-hand part of the 6. He had to go into the right-hand part of the 6, and that was what he was afraid of doing, is scratching in that corner pocket, and that's what he did. He tried to avoid the 6 entirely when he shot that shot, but it was just a finesse shot that he doesn't have really developed yet.
Well, it's academic, at any rate. In all probability, as Efren prepares to clear the remaining 3 balls from the playing surface.
Well, unfortunately for our viewers, we're not going to be able to have an interview with Reyes. I mean, it's possible that we may, though, if Pat Fleming, our gracious boss man, Pat Fleming, if he's able to get Efren to come up here and give him a map, by the way, give him a map how to get up here. Well, by the way, Pat. All right, Dennis has concedes game number 15, and Efren Reyes does win this match 11 games to 4.
In a match that could easily have been much closer.
Well, Efren's such a difficult man to beat, Grady. He doesn't make any mistakes, you know. He kicks extremely well. He plays safely, just about as perfectly as one can play. He runs the balls, in this commentator's opinion, better than anyone in the world. You know, he has the masse shot. Like you mentioned before, the only shot he's lacking in his game is the jump shot. And if there is any weaknesses in this game, it's the jump shot and also breaking the balls. Other than that, I don't believe there's anyone in the world that can compete with him.
I, for one, am thankful that he is not possessed of the jump shot. Like you suggested, he's hard enough to beat as it is.
Well, that's true. Well, you know, there's been quite a few upsets in the tournaments up to date. And one of the upsets is Earl Strickland. He got upset today. Mike Siegel was upset. And yourself and me, we were both upset.
Well, I wouldn't even call mine an upset. I lost to Chris McDonald 11 to 10. Chris is a terrific young player.
Well, I'm glad to see that you are finally coming to your senses, and when you lose now, you don't consider it an upset. I'm really proud of you. You're really awfully generous of you.
Yeah, there's not much I can say. I didn't get a good shot the last game, and I lost fair and square.
You know, I don't really like you when you're humble like this. I don't like you at all.
Well, 9-ball is a humbling game. It really is. I believe it's defeated me. I don't believe I can play good enough to win matches anymore. I lose about 90% of the safety engagements.
I think Rick Foley has us on camera here, or at least he's trying to get us on camera. It's very dark up here. And
my only true hope in these events is to
there it is.
draw opposition the likes of you, in which case I'm still in pretty good shape.
Rick Foley, you've done a superb job one more time, Pat. Pat's the man that does the timing in between the handheld camera and the overhead camera.
Advanced age.
Yes, he does that extremely well. And for your for the viewers out,
that's the most astounding thing I've ever seen. A pool table light just fell on the table.
Well, that could have been...
and miraculously did not disturb the lie of the ball. Now, Fatty claims in Johnson City one year that an earthquake moved all the balls from his side of the table to Ronnie Allen's side of the table. They had to bank 8 and out to win the game. Maybe we can get a picture of that. Rick is zooming in right now on the dispatch lights. There it is, lying on the table.
Well, there's something else that we could be concerned about when we play our next match. I hope the light doesn't fall on me.
Your best chance to defeat me is to put something in my drink.
Now, my best chance to defeat you is for you to show up. That's my best chance. That's for sure.
And fortunately for you, in the unlikely event that we should draw each other in one of these star-studded events, I'm not averse to a sociable wager.
Okay, now let's go back over there and pick up Scott Smith, the tournament director, who is in the light-colored sport jacket, by the way, and the man to his right with the yellow shirt is Leonard Rudworth. On table number 4, they're going to have to do something about that light, unless they continue the match without an overhead light, which wouldn't be that difficult. There are plenty of overhead lights here in this spacious hall.
Well, you can't tell what might happen, Billy. I was playing Danny Jones in Houston once, and the joint got tear gassed. And Danny insisted we finish the session out in gas mask.
Okay, we were unable to get Efren Reyes to join us, you know, for an interview up here. But I don't mind chatting with you, you being one of my favorite people in life.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Billy.
Yeah. And if Rick Bowley can get us on camera one more time.
Well, I'm tired of all the
No light, thanks a lot. Every time we go somewhere, there's never any light on us.
I want you to know something. One of my next projects is going to be to film a pilot, a sitcom based in a pool room, and I intend to cast it from characters from Pooldom's Underworld.
And do you have any in mind?
Would you care to audition? Sure, I've got Freddie Benavegna in mind. Perhaps Nasty Belly and Cornbread Red.
Nasty Belly?
Just a nickname.
Who is that? Who's Nasty Belly? Forget about it, that's all. End of conversation. I'm not going to ask you to expose Nasty Belly to all our viewers out there, but when we sign off, I would like to know at least who Nasty Belly is.
You know what happened the other night? This fella took the secretary to the motel, and he stayed all night with her. And just before he went home, he rubbed a little pool chalk on his hand. And when he went home, his wife said, "Where have you been?" He said, "I went to the motel with my secretary all night long." And she said, "You're lying. You've been playing pool."
Okay, on that note, I think I'll bid you a goodbye.
And once again, it's been an extreme pleasure. Thanks, Bill.
Okay, Pat Fleming, you've done an excellent job along with Rick Boley. This is Bill Incardona in behalf of Grady Mathews saying thanks a lot for joining us for this match between EFREN Reyes and Dennis Hatch, which we all see EFREN Reyes winning handily 11 games to 5. If you're interested in this match, call Pat Fleming at 1-800-828-0397. And hopefully we'll be doing another match. And you don't have any idea who it might be, Pat? No idea who it might be, but I guarantee you it'll be a hot one.